BBC's controversial documentary banned, action taken under the information technology rules. Many videos have already been banned. Blow to Yes Bank in the case of AT1 Bonds. Mumbai High Court quashes the bank's 2020 decision. Big relief to investors. Telecom companies expressed inability to implement CNAP, cited technical difficulties. TRAI had proposed CNAP. 21 unknown islands of Andaman and Nicobar will be named after the soldiers. These soldiers have been honoured with Paramveer Chakra. Ross Island has been renamed as Subhash Chandra Bose Island earlier. And INS Vaigir submarine inducted into Navy. This is the 5th submarine of the Kalvari class. The first submarine of the class was inducted in 2017. Recently, the Union Ministry of Information and Broadcasting has reportedly banned the controversial BBC documentary. This action on BBC News has been taken under the IT rules, the Information Technology, Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code Rules 2021. The ministry has done so in exercise of the powers conferred under it. In fact, in this controversial video of the BBC News, questions have been raised on the role of the then Chief Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, regarding the riots in Gujarat during the year 2002. The government considers this against the integrity and sovereignty of India. At the same time, Union Law Minister Kiran Rijiju has called it a blow to the credibility of the Supreme Court. Along with this, he has described the video as a reflection of the colonial mindset. It is noteworthy that the government has already taken action on many YouTube channels under the Information Technology Act. For your information, let us tell you that in the year 2021, the information technology rules were brought by the Government of India. Formally, these are the Information Technology, Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code Rules of 2021. These rules replace the erstwhile Information Technology, Intermediary Guidelines Rules of 2011. These rules of 2021 are broadly related to the regulation of social media, OTT, that is over-the-top platforms and digital news. The purpose of these rules is to make provisions for redressal of complaints of users in case of violation of their rights on digital platforms. Along with this, it is also the purpose of these rules to fix the accountability of these users. Thus, they were brought in to stop the misuse of social media and the spread of fake news. Significantly, using Section 16 of these rules, the government has banned the documentary. This section empowers the government to withhold any information in case of emergency. That is where any delay is not acceptable. It allows the government to order the immediate removal of any content from a digital platform in order to maintain India's sovereignty, security, friendly relations with countries, and law and order. Such action can be taken without giving an opportunity of being heard to the intermediaries or the publishers. This is the reason why critics of these rules equate it to censorship. For information, let us tell you that the newspapers in India are registered under the Press and Registration of Books Act 1867, while private satellite TV channels work under the uplinking and downlinking guidelines of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Recently, the Editors Guild of India has expressed deep concern over the draft amendments of IT rules of 2021. They are of the view that it is wrong to have the right of checking and determining the veracity of news reports only in the hands of the government, because there are already several laws in place to deal with fake or factually incorrect news. According to them, these amendments will have a negative impact on the freedom of the press. Not just this, they will also impact the concept of the fourth pillar of the democracy. Earlier also, this organization had opposed the provision of IT Rules 2021, which said that the government has the right to block, delete, or modify news published anywhere in the country without any judicial oversight. Actually, recently, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology issued an amendment in the Draft Information Technology Rules of 2021. This amendment is related to Rule 3 Clause 1 Subclause B Subclause 5 of the Information Technology Rules of 2021. According to the revised draft, social media platforms should make reasonable efforts to ensure that users of the platform do not post any content that is identified as fake by the fact-checking unit of the PIB or any other agency authorized by the central government to conduct fact-checking. It is noteworthy that in the year 2021, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology had notified the Information Technology, Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code rules of 2021. These rules pertain to the regulation of social media, over-the-top platforms and digital news. Its purpose was to ensure a law compliance and grievance redressal mechanism for social media platforms, messaging applications, streaming platform, and digital news publishers. Recently, the Union Ministry of Corporate Affairs has proposed an amendment to the IBC, that is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. The ministry has invited suggestions on this proposed amendment. The proposal is aimed at plugging the gaps and deficiencies in the functioning of the IBC. It proposes to almost automate the process of declaring a company as default or insolvent. For this process will be streamlined through digital data. According to the ministry, this will reduce the time taken to accept bankruptcy cases of companies. Another proposal in this amendment is that the pre-packaged insolvency resolution process will now be extended to other firms as well. Significantly, this process was brought during the COVID-19 pandemic only for MSME, that is micro, small and medium enterprises. The third amendment deals with issues arising out of insolvency of real estate companies. To deal with these, a distinction has now been made between a specialized real estate project and a large corporate entity. This means if insolvency proceedings are initiated against the promoter of a real estate project, he may be allowed to continue working on other projects. While the stressed project will be dealt with separately, this is being seen as a relief for home buyers. Apart from this, the amendments have proposed changes in the way income is distributed to the creditors of the company. They will receive proceeds up to the liquidation value as per priority prescribed under Section 53 of the IBC. Also, any surplus over such liquidation value shall be distributed equally among all the creditors in the proportion of their unsatisfied claims. For your information, let us tell you that the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code was brought in the year 2016. It was introduced with the objective of safeguarding the value of the company by providing a phased, time-bound, and collective process in the event of bankruptcy and liquidation of a company. Recently, the Bombay High Court rejected the decision to write off AT1, that is, additional Tier 1 bonds of the Yes Bank. However, the court has given the bank 6 weeks to appeal against the decision. This decision brought relief to institutional and retail investors investing in these bonds. These investors have been fighting a legal battle in this matter for the last 3 years. Actually, in March 2020, AT1 bonds worth around Rs 8,415 crore were written off as part of Yes Bank's bailout plan. In simple words, the value of these bonds was reduced to zero. The bank's AT1 bondholders went to the court against this. AT1 bonds are a type of unsecured bonds. These are issued by banks to meet Basel III norms. These bonds are also known as a type of permanent debt instrument. They do not have any maturity date. In this case, the issuer has a call option. Under this option, these bonds can be brought back by the bank or the issuer after a specified period. These are generally issued on a private placement basis without any maturity period. Since these bonds offer higher returns to investors than other debt products, they are considered high-risk maturity instruments. The biggest risk in this is that, in case of institutional failure, banks are allowed to stop interest payments, and, if necessary, these bonds can be written off. A recent article published in the Global Environmental Change Journal has warned regarding the issues looming large over the Indian financial sector. The reason for this financial crisis is the excessive dependence on fossil fuels and excessive investment made in these sectors. In such a situation, with the increase in the loan related to these sectors, There has been a decrease in the tendency to repay the loan. Lack of knowledge and experience related to this field is also responsible for the poor financial condition. According to the report, oil and gas extraction sector accounts for 60% of the total loans given to the mining sector. Petroleum refining and related industry accounts for 1/5 of manufacturing sector debt. At the same time, 5.2% of the outstanding loan belongs to the thermal power production sector, while 17% of the power sector loan is related to renewable energy. In such a situation, it is known that the reason for more polluting and expensive electricity is due to the financial decision of the Indian bank and institutional investors, that is, less investment on renewable energy sources. In addition, the report says that less than half of the 154 finance professionals had knowledge related to environmental issues, and only 4 out of 10 major financial institutions collect this type of information. It is a matter of concern that even these companies don't use the information while making financial plans. The report claims that high carbon industries such as power generation, chemical, iron and steel, and aviation accounts for 10% of the outstanding debt of financial institutions. Apart from this, these industries themselves are also heavily in debt. In such a situation, these institutions aren't able to face these situations. The report says that India is committed to reach net zero emissions by the year 2070. Also, by the year 2030, India wants to meet about 50% of its electricity needs from non-fossil fuel sources. In such a situation, at least $1 trillion of financing is required to meet these commitments. Recently, Delhi High Court has dismissed the trademark violation case of Subway Company. The court said that the company cannot have a monopoly on the word sub. Using sub in its logo by someone else is not a copy of the logo of Subway Company. The court argued that sub doesn't mean only Subway Company's sandwich. It also is widely used for submarine sandwiches. The term sub is used for a product formed by stuffing of a cylindrical long bread. Actually, the Subway Company had accused the Delhi-based Infinity Food restaurant that it has made its name and logo, that is suburb, similar to Subway, which is a violation of the trademark rules. Subway also accused Suburb of trademark infringement on menu cards, outlet decorations, and dishes. So this matter reached the court, which was dismissed by the court. For your information, let us tell you that a trademark means a symbol, design, word, or phrase. The identity of a business or company is attached to it. The presence of trademark on a product or service enables the consumers to identify it on the basis of its nature and quality. Companies are required to register trademarks for monopoly. A company can claim exclusive right over a registered trademark. In India, protection is provided to registered trademarks under the Trademarks Act of 1999. On the other hand, protection to unregistered trademarks is provided under common law. A trademark is valid for 10 years. However, it can be renewed indefinitely by the company after every 10 years. If a trademark is used without the permission of the company that owns it, it is considered a violation of the trademark laws. In this case, use of a nearly identical mark for similar goods or services may also amount to infringement. Significantly, India is a member of the International Trademark System of the World Intellectual Property Organization. Recently, telecom companies have expressed their inability to implement CNAP, that is, calling name presentation. Also, companies have raised concerns about the privacy implications involved in caller name presentation. These companies have said that implementing CNAP's proposal would be technically difficult, as many phones in the Indian market do not support such a feature. Actually, TRAI, that is Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, had issued a consultation paper in November 2022 regarding calling name presentation. TRAI had sought views of telecom companies on this. Under the consultation paper, the regulatory authority had proposed 4 possible models for implementing calling name presentation. CNAP is a feature in which the name of the caller is displayed on the screen of the phone. The purpose of its implementation is to ensure that people have access to accurate information about informing unknown phone callers. This will help them to avoid harassment from unknown or spam callers. Since the name and identity of the unknown caller is usually not clear to the customer, customers sometimes choose not to answer them, believing that these may be unwanted and business calls from unregistered telemarketers. This leaves genuine or urgent calls as well. CNAP can be a better option to avoid such problems. Significantly, a company like Truecaller already exists in the market, providing facilities like CNAP, but this company is of Sweden origin. Along with this feature of Truecaller depends on the choice of the customer. But CNAP proposed by TRAI will be mandatory. In this facility will be available even without the consent of the customers. Recently, an article was published in India's prestigious science journal, IJJB, that is, Indian Journal of Biochemistry and Biophysics. The topic of the article was polycystic ovary syndrome and its complications. It talks about PCOS, that is, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and its treatment. Let's tell you that PCOS is one of the prevalent disorders at present. 1 out of 5 women in India is suffering from this disease. At the same time, 1 out of 10 women globally is impacted by this disease. The exact cause of this disorder is not yet known. However, excessive hormonal imbalance is believed to be the main cause of the syndrome. Significantly, women suffering from this have more secretion of androgen hormones. Androgen hormones are known as male hormones. This causes people to have hirsutism, that is a condition of excessive hair on the body. Also, it is the cause of acanthosis nigricans disease. Acanthosis nigricans refers to dark spots on the body, which are mainly present on the neck and under the arm. This syndrome is also responsible for heart disease, diabetes mellitus, and uterine cancer. Along with this, women suffering from this syndrome have very high chances of infertility. Metformin, clomiphene, letrozole, and spironolactone drugs are used in this treatment for this disease. However, their use for a long time has adverse impacts on the body, and experts say that at present, the use of natural herbs is increasing for the treatment of this disease, which works to keep the hormones stable and balanced. Parakram Divas was celebrated on the 23rd of January. On this occasion, the Prime Minister of India has named 21 unknown islands of Andaman and Nicobar after the brave soldiers of the country. These include 21 soldiers including Major Dhan Singh Thapa, Vikram Batra, Manoj Kumar Pandey. All these brave soldiers are honoured with Paramveer Chakra. Significantly, earlier in the year 2018, the Prime Minister had renamed Ross Island after Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Also, Neil and Havelock Island were named as Shaheed and Swaraj respectively. This island group is so special because India's first independent government was formed here. The tricolour was also hoisted here. The Paramveer Chakra is India's highest gallantry award. It is given to a military service and people associated with it. It was started on January 26, 1950. This award is also given posthumously. Till date, 21 people have been honoured with this award, and the Paramveer Chakra is similar to the Medal of Honour of America and the Victoria Cross of the United Kingdom. Significantly, the Andaman and Nicobar Islands are located in the Bay of Bengal. There are more than 500 small and big islands in it. Port Blair, the capital of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, is located on the South Andaman. The 10-degree channel separates the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Also, the 6-degree channel separates Great Nicobar from Sumatra Island in Indonesia. Recently, a research was published in the Lancet Infectious Diseases Journal. The study is based on SARS-CoV-2 infection and the protective effectiveness of hybrid immunity. It claimed that hybrid immunity provides better protection against severe COVID-19, while other immunity wears off within a few months. Here, by other immunity, we mean infection-induced immunity and vaccine-induced immunity. The study states that the effectiveness of hybrid immunity was 97.4% after 12 months of receiving both doses of COVID vaccine, whereas after 6 months of receiving the booster dose, the effectiveness was 95.3%. Apart from this, those who have received both doses of the vaccine and become infected again, the effectiveness of hybrid immunity in this case was recorded at 41.8%, while the effectiveness in case of reinfection after booster dose was recorded at 46.5%. Actually, WHO classifies immunity in 3 forms. Their names are infection-induced immunity, vaccine-induced immunity, and hybrid immunity, respectively. Here, infection-induced immunity means such immunity which the person's body develops on its own against that disease, whereas in infection-induced immunity, that person's body develops immunity after the introduction of the vaccine. Hybrid immunity, on the other hand, refers to immunity in which a person has received one or more doses of the COVID-19 vaccine and has been infected with SARS-CoV-2 at least once before or after vaccination. Recently, diesel-electric submarine INS Vaigir was inducted into the Indian Navy. It is the fifth submarine of the Kalvari class. It has been built by Mazagon Dock Shipbuilders Limited, Mumbai, in collaboration with French Messrs Naval Group. It is the fifth of the 6 submarines being built under Project 75. 4 of these submarines have already been inducted into the Navy. The first submarine, INS Kalvari, was inducted into the Indian Navy in the year 2017. The second submarine, INS Khandeli, in 2019. The third submarine, INS Karanj, in March 2021. And the fourth submarine, INS Vela, in November 2021. The sixth and the last submarine is expected to be handed over to the Navy by the end of 2023. According to experts, this submarine will work to serve India's maritime interest. Along with this, it will also be helpful in conducting intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance operations during the war. INS Vaigir is approximately 67 meters long and 12 meters high. Its speed is about 20 kilometers per hour above water and about 40 kilometers per hour underwater. Apart from this, the submarine is also equipped with modern weapons and can stay underwater for about 50 days. The submarine derives its name from the erstwhile Vaigir, which served in the Indian Navy for almost 30 years between 1973 and 2001. Construction of the new Vaigir began in 2009 and it completed its first sea trials in February last year, while this submarine was handed over to the Indian Navy in December 2022. Let us now look at the 5 questions based on the bulletin.
Questions for this series are: first question is, consider the following statements related to the new information technology rules. 1. The Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code rules were brought in the year 2021. 2. It replaced the Information Technology rules of 2011. 3. It aims to regulate social media, over-the-top platforms and digital news. Which of the above statement or statements is or are correct? 1 only, 2 and 3 only, 1 and 3 only, or all of the above. Next question is, with reference to AT1 bond, consider the following statements. 1. AT1 bonds are a type of unsecured bond. 2. They are issued by banks to meet Basel III norms. 3. They have a maturity period of 30 days. 4. The issuer has the option to buy back these bonds after a specified period. Which of the above statements are correct? 1 and 3 only, 2 and 4 only, 1, 2 and 4 only, or all of the above. Next question is, consider the following statements regarding carbon emission. 1. India is committed to reach net zero emissions by 2070. 2. India plans to set up 500 gigawatt of non-fossil fuel-based power capacity by 2030. Which of the above statement or statements is or are correct? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, or none of the above. Next question is, consider the following statements relating to calling name presentation or CNAP. 1. Under the CNAP facility, the customers will see the name of the caller on their phone screen. 2. This facility will be available even without the consent of the customers. 3. Telecom companies have expressed their concerns to implement CNAP. Which of the above statements are correct? 1 and 3 only, 2 and 3 only, 1 and 2 only, or all of the above. Last question is, when is the Parakram Divas celebrated? 23 January, 21 January, 25 January, or 22 January. These days, the Sankhya Sagar Lake of Madhya Pradesh is covered with water hyacinth. Because of this, apprehension has been expressed about the danger on the biodiversity of the lake. Actually, when water hyacinth covers the surface of a water body, it does not allow sunlight to enter the water. Because of this, the amount of oxygen in that water body decreases, which decreases the biodiversity in that water body. Significantly, Sankhya Sagar Lake is located in Shivpuri of Madhya Pradesh. It is an artificial lake It was included in the list of Ramsar site about 6 months ago in July 2022. It is a wetland site designated internationally important by the UNESCO. Indigenous operating system Bhar OS has been tested recently. This information has been shared by the Union Ministry of Communications, Electronics and Information Technology. This operating system has been developed by IIT Madras. Although it has not been launched yet, it is being considered more secure and private than Google's Android and iOS. That is why it is being seen as a challenge for both of them. According to reports, there is no first-party app included in Bhar OS. It will support private app stores, due to which users will be able to install and use the apps of their own choice. In the recent past, the central government has issued endorsement guidelines for celebrities and social media influencers. As per the guidelines, influencers and celebrities will endorse only those products that they use themselves. Failure to do so will attract a fine of up to 5 lakh rupees. Thus, they will now have to mandatorily disclose the monetary or physical benefits of a product or brand that they are promoting through their social media handles. The ministry's objective behind this is to protect customers from unfair trade practices. Recently, Bharat Pravaha initiative has been launched by the Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways. Its purpose is to demonstrate the role of river sports and shipping in everyday life of the general public. So under this initiative, the objective is to connect the general public with waterways through literature, dialogue and communication. Programs will be organized on various topics to achieve the objective. Indian Space Research Organization or ISRO is planning to launch Aditya L1 mission by June or July this year. According to ISRO, the mission will be launched to study the sun and the solar corona. This will be the first Indian space mission to conduct such a study. It will be launched in L1 orbit. The L1 orbit is the first Lagrangian point of the Sun-Earth system. This orbit will help Aditya 1 to continuously look at the sun. Significantly, the Lagrange points are positions in space where the gravitational forces of a two-body system, like the sun and the earth, produce enhanced regions of attraction and repulsion. In this region, a small celestial body moves in such an orbit that its position remains constant with respect to both the bodies. Bharat Parv started after the Republic Day celebrations. This festival started from the evening of 26 January and will continue till 31st January. In this, after the evening of Republic Day, an event is held at Gyanpath in front of the Red Fort in New Delhi. In this, different stalls from across the country are set up. Bharat Parv was started by the Ministry of Tourism. The decision to celebrate Bharat Parv on the next day of Republic Day, that is 27 January, was taken in the year 2016. The main purpose of celebrating this festival is to promote tourism. Through this, the diverse cultural heritage of India is displayed. Initially, it was celebrated for 3 days, but now it is celebrated for 5 days. Recently, Union Health Minister Shri Mansukh Mandaviya has launched the world's first intranasal COVID-19 vaccine. It has been developed by Bharat Biotech. This vaccine has been named Incovac. Significantly, it was approved by the Drug Controller General of India in November 2022 for emergency use as a booster dose in adults. It can be given to people who are 18 years of age or older. UNESCO has declared Ukraine's Odessa as a World Heritage Endangered Site. According to UNESCO, this will help protect the cultural heritage of Odessa. Also, this will enable access to financial and technical international aid for Odessa. Let us tell you that Odessa is the third most populous city of Ukraine. It is a major tourist center and port located on the northwest coast of the Black Sea. It is also sometimes called the Pearl of the Black Sea.